Hi, everybody. It is Friday morning, 9:30, and we're talking hot weather. So, just an update on what we've been talking about. Well, since early this week, and maybe even going back to last week, and that is the fact that it still appears we're going to be looking at a run of 100-degree temperatures here in the Willamette Valley and up into Southwest Washington, and certainly out into the gorge and potentially out across other parts, in fact, likely other parts of eastern Oregon, where 100-degree temperatures are a bit more common than they are here on the west side. You're looking at a beautiful Friday morning. The Ottercrest camera looking south. That's a big resort property. It's just beautiful. That's down Lincoln County, and then Lewis River Golf Course up in Woodland, Washington, showing the rising sun this morning, and people out there taking advantage of what's going to be a beautiful day. We had temps in the low 50s this morning. Today, mid 80s on average, up and down I-5 on this Friday. So again, I urge you to get outside and enjoy some somewhat comfortable weather this afternoon, certainly this morning. Okay, well, this is a matter of timing. The National Weather Service now recognizing that the confidence level is quite high for 100-degree heat next week, and we're getting closer. So an excessive heat watch has been issued from the National Weather Service. Everything in that kind of red brick color, which extends from south of Eugene up through Salem, Portland, Vancouver, and northward up into Kelso, Longview. And then notice also it includes the West Gorge out into Hood River. Also notice this does not include the immediate coastal areas also. So anyway, the excessive heat watch up for Monday through Thursday. That's the best bet to hit 100-degree temperatures or higher. And if you look down in Blue River or Detroit and Sweet Home, that kind of light tan color, that's a fire weather watch. We will also be under some sort of a fire weather alert, if you will, this weekend and much of next week due to the hot temperatures and dry conditions. Fire danger will be high. Now, with that said, at this time, I am not, to be perfectly clear, I am not tracking or seeing any reason for high winds during this episode. So let's hope that comes true. The wind direction will turn north to northeast to east. I just don't see a period of time where it's going to get really windy. And the fact that there's not an overly dominant wind flow pattern still has me telling you that I think the coast forecast is a bit of a question mark. It will probably, the reality is the coast will probably end up next week having some sunny 80 to even 90-degree weather. And the coast will also probably end up having some days where it's in the 60s and 70s and it's foggy. The fact that there's not a dominant wind flow makes that tough to pinpoint this far out. But just again, the main message here, the alert for you, that growing confidence that we will hit 100 degrees. This is the satellite picture with the upper level flow pattern at 18,000 feet, the contouring overlaying. And if you look to the west on the left of the image, that 594 pressure high, that is the high that will be building northward, and then the center of it sliding to the east, nearing the Pacific Northwest. That is the high that in part caused that wind tunnel over the island of Maui in the Hawaiian Islands the other day. And also it is the high that will lead to our heat wave coming next week. So everything is in place. And at this point, all weather models seem to be basically aligning. I just don't see this heat wave not happening. So with that said, 86 today, nearing 90 tomorrow on Saturday, and then not only in the 90s, but nearing 100 on Sunday. So for my money, the heat wave really starts on Sunday, a day that may or may not make it to 100 degrees. There's that same high we just saw in the satellite picture circled in white. Again, notice how it's moved to the north and starting to snuggle up against the Pacific Northwest coast. So that will be our hot weather maker. This next map, I chose not to replace it with the current map for two reasons. Number one, the current map hasn't changed much. The placement of everything still looks to be intact. This is Wednesday of next week, some of the hottest weather that we expect to see. What has changed, and I looked through the American, the Canadian, and the European models, is that the models, and this could change again, but right now the models are no longer showing a 600 millibar high. They're keeping that high at 594, which is still plenty hot to produce 100-degree temperatures. It's just that if we end up having an actual observation one day next week of a 600 millibar high, that would be somewhat historic for the pressure ridge to be so strong. Again, these high pressure ridges produce compressive heating. So the stronger the pressure ridge, the greater the potential for temperatures just to be that much hotter. But we'll keep watching this because, again, I talked in detail the last time I spoke with you. These type of pressure ridges this strong, potentially nearing 600 millibars or stronger, something we had not seen in this area, even on weather modeling prior to the June 2021 heat wave. And now all of a sudden this summer, and particularly this month of August, I've seen the modeling spit out these incredibly extreme intensified high pressure ridges several times. And it's certainly a sign of changing times or changing climate, if you will. Okay, so that is still something I'm watching for, but it's not showing up right now. That's for Wednesday. Now, current weather modeling has us in a heat wave zone with 100-degree temperatures at least through Thursday of next week. Friday, right now, I've got us in the 90s, still certainly hot enough to say the heat wave is still going on. And then I show a cooling trough on Saturday that I still think will bring us at least a chance of some shower activity next weekend. Now, this is the GFS model. The European model, this is Saturday of next week, the 19th of August. The American GFS model still shows a pretty significant trough with what would be a likely shot of rain and temperatures only in the 70s, maybe temperatures only well down to the 70s. However, the European model was showing the same, and now this morning, the Euro model, which I don't show you here, but the Euro model has weakened that trough considerably, which would mean a lesser rain chance and temperatures instead of being in the 70s would be in the 80s. So anyway, we're keeping an eye on that. But certainly everything still points to the fact that the heat wave will end at this point no later than Friday of next week. Okay, with all of that said, here are the actual numbers of the hottest weather that I'm projecting on this Friday morning. I've got 99 on Sunday. Again, a day that may or may not make it to 100. I've got 103 Monday, 103 Tuesday, 103 Wednesday. In my mind, all three of those days have a likelihood to be 100 degrees or hotter. Now, to me, the potential temperature range next week for Portland, Salem, Vancouver, and other parts of the valley and the Western Gorge, the temperature range is at least making it to 100, but no warmer than 105. So let's hope that we at least don't get one hotter than 105. And then still 100 degrees or maybe a tad bit warmer on Thursday. So look at this real quick before I go to this next graphic. Realize if we make it to 100 on Sunday, which we may, we would have 100-degree temperatures or greater 5 consecutive days. That is rarefied air, as they say, which brings me to this graphic. This is for Portland site specific, chasing a 1941 heat record. You know, for decades, most of the, maybe not most, but certainly many of the noticeable summer hot weather records went back to the Dust Bowl years of the 1940s. Now, we have broken a lot of those said records since the summer of 2000. But here's a big granddaddy record that still stays with us. July 13 through 17, 1941, the temperatures in Portland, 101, 103, 103, 102, 101. That is the only time we have had a 5 consecutive streak of 100-degree days. We have never tied that record. That stands alone. And then if you drop down to the graphic, this is interesting to me. In fact, we've never had more than 5 total 100-degree days in any summer. So the record, 5 consecutive, but also the total record is 5, meaning that summer in 41 never hit 100 degrees outside of that record of consecutive days. Now, here's what is a bit alarming if you're making the case that summers are getting hotter lately, then this fits right into that rhetoric. We tied the all-time record of 5 100-degree days or better last summer in 2022. We tied that record in 2021. Before that, we hadn't done it since the summer of 77. And before that, we hadn't done it since the summer of 41. So my point is, if we hit 100 degrees on Sunday, go on to have 5 consecutive days, it'll be 3 summers in a row that we have at least had 5 100-degree days with plenty of time yet this summer to get a record 6th day. But that, again, is another window on how our summer heat just keeps building and building and building. With that said, I'm using my KGW weather graphic that I made here at the TV station, so courtesy to KGW TV, my weather site, portlandweather.com, that I hope you'll continue to check in on for current conditions and forecast data. We've had relatives in town, and I'm flying to Missouri tomorrow on Saturday, so I've got my weather site on auto mode, which means the 7-day you see on portlandweather.com is the auto link to weather.gov, the National Weather Service data, which is just now starting to reflect my own personal numbers. showing hot weather. But 86 today, 89 tomorrow, 99 Sunday. There you see the 103 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and still 100 degrees on Thursday. Now, notice with me, overnight lows still give us a break. Overnight lows potentially down to 70, or at least the low 70s, I feel like, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the Thursday morning. So that will bring some relief at night, and it will produce some quite pleasant mornings before we start to heat up. Noontime temperatures next week are probably going to be anywhere from mid 80s to as warm as 90. So we'll keep an eye on all of that as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to update this in the coming days or not. Again, I'm flying out on vacation on Saturday, and I'll be gone for a week. So if you don't hear from me, that's why. I do find it necessary to give myself a total mental break, which I'm sure you can appreciate from time to time. So I honestly haven't decided if I'm going to take my laptop with me and do weather next week or not. But for the time being, this forecast looks like it's kind of getting set in stone. So be smart next week. Check on people that you know of that may struggle with the heat and don't have AC and that type of thing. Okay. Thanks for using my site. Thanks for subscribing to this YouTube channel. I'll talk to you soon.